Left off, you remember we just had Moab, and the Ammonites were created as the children of Lot and his daughters. Now we get back to Abraham, and Abraham is still hanging out around Beersheba, and Abimelech. The problem is that Sarah is just so beautiful, everyone wants to marry her. So Abimelech wants to marry her, and it's a story very similar to that which is in Egypt, and they end up making peace and having everything go all right. Then we finally get Sarah having a child, Isaac, and he's circumcised, and this is where we have the conflict between Ishmael and Isaac, and Hagar is cast off, and then she's given a covenant for Ishmael, and things turn out okay for Ishmael. It seems like it may not be, but in the end it really turns out fairly nicely for Ishmael. Then we get this incredibly important chapter, chapter 22, what people often call the Agidah, or the binding of Isaac. And in this story, we'll go through it in depth in class, so we don't need to talk about it a lot here. But Abraham is asked to go from Beersheba, and he takes Isaac with him all the way up to Salem, we believe, to Mount Moriah, which is probably there in Jerusalem. And so he travels this. It's about 60-something miles, and quite a climb. You see, he has to go up into this hill country. Now, tradition holds that the rock that is under the Dome of the Rock, it's a strange kind of meteor-looking rock, that rock here underneath the Dome of the Rock is actually the site where Abraham sacrificed, or nearly sacrificed, Isaac. In Muslim tradition, it's Ishmael, but in any case, this is the traditional site right there in Salem or Jerusalem. It seems to be a kind of a desolate place by then, and so that makes us wonder, well, wait, wasn't Melchizedek there? But there's some evidence that actually maybe Melchizedek and his city were translated, so maybe it was desolate by then, or who knows. In any case, he ends up nearly sacrificing Isaac, and we'll talk about that at length in class. Then we get Sarah dying, and she's buried there in Hebron. Very sad thing for a couple that was so in love with each other for so long. And then we get Isaac telling his servant that he needs to get a wife for, Abraham telling his servant that he needs to get a wife for Isaac, someone through whom the covenant can go. It has to be someone through whom the covenant can go. So, where's the picture I'm wanting? This servant, Eleazar, will go all the way back to Haran. This is about 454 miles, but that's if you go straight. He's going to go that one curved route that we talked about before. We'll curve over here and along the Jabbok River and up, going along like this. So it's going to be far longer than I would guess, closer to 600 miles. That he will go to get this wife, and we've got the wonderful story. I've got a picture here in my book if I can find it. The wonderful story of Rebecca, who gets water for the camels. We'll talk about that in class as well, but I thought I'd show this picture of that happening in modern times. And so that's the setting for the story with Isaac, who will also have to personally renew his covenant with, or make the covenant with God. Even though he's born into it, he will have to make the covenant himself, just like we do, as he becomes a righteous young man.